Glow Up Gospel.
Glow Up Gospel.
Glow Up
Glow Up
Gospel.
Gospel.
The transformation only God can bring.
So this is the second episode of the Glow Up Gospel podcast with my beautiful girlfriend, Whitley. Last episode, we talked about her testimony and why we are Southern Baptists and not Catholic or Eastern Orthodox. And this episode, we're going to talk about our kind of mindset through dating and what we believe on it, which we are limited in knowledge because we are young, and we also, and I claim to be experts on this is probably one of the few things I will be humble about. I am really confident in other things. This is slightly less confident, but still confident. You'll see now in the video, Unforsaken, clothing, yeah. Unforsaken clothing video should be popped up. The link and codes in the description if you want to support. So go to support me and the Unforsaken clothing line, which is honestly a really good clothing line for if you're a Christian and you also like to work out, which I like to do both.
Would you like to be comfy?
Or you like to be comfy, because some of the sweatpants and hoodies look really comfy, not gonna lie. And they're just freaking cool looking. So, yeah. Okay. Why dating is not biblical, grammar. Why dating is not a biblical concept, but we can apply biblical, oh my god, the grammar. Okay, yeah. Why is it not a biblical concept, but we can still add. So like when you saw the question, when I showed you the questions what we were talking about, what was your first thought about that?
You do a great job explaining it. That's what I thought.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I know, but I don't know how to put it into words.
Okay. That's fair. So, okay. First off, we gotta understand is that dating is a very modern culture concept.
That was my second thought.
Yeah. It's something that it's a modern culture thing. It was not a biblical concept. The Bible does not talk about dating. It honestly doesn't even talk about, it didn't exist, and it doesn't really even talk about necessarily the means of getting married besides a few situations. But it mainly just talks about just married couples. So what it looks like when you are married. So for instance, when we are dating, a concept that I would say, to apply biblical principles on something that's not necessarily biblical, she is not my property yet. She's not mine. I'm not hers. Not yet. Because of the fact, I should say property, that sounds really bad. But
it's
it is and it isn't. It's not saying like a slave, but as in when you get married, you are theirs and they are yours. There is that binding of relationship, and
covenant.
It's
between you and God.
Yes, it's a covenant. That's a great way to put it.
Yes.
So what our society will try to tell you is that you're mine, so you can't do this and that. I should control you, and you should do the same for me. I could check your Instagram whenever I want to, and or I can't. You're not allowed to talk to other guys or anything else. No, that's not how that works. No, I'm kidding. So, but no, I'll jokes aside though. But it's you're not, because while you still want to be loyal to the relationship, you don't want to go out cheating. At the same time, you have to understand that they're not your property. And they're not your property. For instance, I remember, my dad saying to have each other's location in dating is crazy. To have for instance, if I had your Life 360, he would be like, why? She's not your property yet. You're not in charge of her.
I'm not your responsibility.
I'm not your responsibility. Yeah. You're not my responsibility. So in this situation, dating, you have to respect, especially for guys, because guys don't seem to get this. You have to respect that your girlfriend is not yours, but her father's. You do not have the father's blessing yet, and you do not have that covenant yet. All dating is just essentially a evaluation, if you want to look at a Mr. Analytical Geek. Okay? It's like an evaluation. But in the emotional way. I don't know. But because it's what it is, you're evaluating, is this person somebody I would want to spend the rest of my life with under that kind of thing? So like, you know, but you evaluate them by growing a relationship with them, by learning about each other.
Friends? We're growing in friendship?
Yeah. So like it's like a glorified friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like that's what people don't understand. It's just a glorified friendship. That's all it is. That's why I also don't think you should be moving into with each other for marriage. You know? You shouldn't be sharing bank accounts, you shouldn't be moving in with each other. That's not how dating works. At that point you are acting as a married couple. And you know, again, you should also have sex before marriage. You know, because that is something as a gift for a married couple. And so, yeah, I think there's just that kind of stuff where, like, while it doesn't talk about it, you know, you can still apply biblical principles. The biblical principle being, when you're married, that's when the girl is no longer her father's, but yours. Same way the other way around. It's just that it's more emphasized with the guy, because while I'm now, like, when we get married, like, now I am now hers, it's not as much, like, there's less of a, how do I say it? Like, I am more responsible for her and her protection and providence, while she is responsible for taking care of me as well. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but there's a certain more level of emphasis, like, they emphasize more of the male's duty of responsibility when it comes to taking care of your woman. You know, that is another thing. It's like, a lot of guys today, they either take two sides. They either let the woman run all over them and they don't do anything, they're just like a whip. Or they become a chauvinistic butthole and they try to boss the girl around. Neither which is biblical. No, like, neither which is biblical. Because what you really want is somewhere in the middle where, yes, you're a leader, but you're a Christ-like leader. How did Christ treat his people? He served them in love. He served them. He served them in love. And he led them in by example. And he loved them with all his heart. And we are called to love them with all our heart. So that's something that, you know, we have to understand and we have to digest, because it's a high calling and it's something you don't want to tread. You want to tread it lightly. You don't want to tread it lightly. You want to take it very seriously, of taking care of the woman God gave you, because you love them and because God gave you them, and she is your responsibility. She is the person that you love, right? Same thing where a woman should have the desire to take care and help and support and give accountability for a man. It's like, if the man is lacking or is not fulfilling his role in leadership, she needs to let him know. Like, bro, you ain't doing your job. You know, you're not doing this right, or you're not doing that right, or whatever. Because it's a partnership. You know, it's like, it's not, because, okay, here's a good way to think of it. So it's like in the military, there's the general. I don't know much military stuff. I'm a dumbo. So, but you have like levels of military authority. That's not saying that the value of those men or women are different. It's saying that they just have a specific role that happens to be a higher authority or responsibility. That's all that's saying. So, like, same thing for men and women. It's not saying that, like, men are more valued or they are better or anything else. So they have a specific role of leadership, which you're not supposed to abuse. A good leader serves and like, they leads them. Like, they don't boss them. You're not their dictator. You're their leader. And I would say probably the best Christian couples I've seen are the ones that have the balance of where, while the man does make the final decision, he does lead. He also like he lets his wife let him know what's going on, and he takes her criticism very heavily. That's his queen. Like, what?
No.
You give me a look like, what are you talking about, man? But I mean, so yeah, because like if you don't respect your woman and you don't respect her opinion or her thoughts or anything else, you're not going to have a happy marriage. Happy wife, happy life. Come on.
Well, I think it's more about being the kind of like thinking of it from a friendship level is being the person that that openly, like, part of the covenant is it's someone who constantly convicts you and encourages you in your relationship with God. And it's more about being led towards that. So the criticism comes from both conviction and like being told and corrected by the other, but like having that safety.
Yep. It's coming from love.
That, and it's the person who's gonna see it and know like you best and know what's best for you, and knowing that they're saying it with a biblical perspective.
Exactly. And so like, wow, I mean, even each other, I mean, we try to keep ourselves accountable in our relationship with each other, with different things, and I think that's a beautiful thing, because there's a good thing to do that in friendships, but it also is good practice for when you do that in married life, as well. So, see, like, that's just kind of some examples. Like, so I'm trying to be delicate with this topic, because I do understand it's a very difficult topic, especially for women, because especially coming from a man trying to say like what their role is, like what you're supposed to do this, I can understand why that would be very difficult. So like, coming from a woman, what are you like? Because I talked a lot about the man side. What are your thoughts about like the woman's side with like a married life or a dating life?
Well, I've heard a lot of people make the analogy, or like not the analogy, the comparison to marriage being a reflection of the church's relationship to Christ.
Yeah.
He's like, Christ is like the authoritative, like he's the leader of the church, and the church enacts it, and I don't know how to describe it. That describes it pretty well, though. Yeah, it's been like the best, and it's more like brain food. You kind of have to think about it and explore it yourself, rather than just have someone like sit there and tell you all about it.
It's honestly really hard to figure out where the lines are, because like I was just talking about, like, it's so easy for you to go too far one way or the other, to take that authoritarian mindset too far and be like some sort of Andrew Tate-esque figure, or you take the mindset to the other extreme and you're like, your girl just, like, you're not a leader to the girl and you don't help her or support her, you don't want to do that either. So, another thing that was interesting with that too, why I think another thing to remember, because like you said, because it's like a Christ and to the church relationship, Christ also washed his disciples' feet. He served them. He humbled himself to them. So, I mean, and that's something that I think both men and women should be willing to do for each other. So, trying to get back to the... Okay. So, we kind of already talked a little bit on the right mindset on dating. Is there anything else you think we should?
I think we should talk about being equally yoked and missionary dating. Because that is a very, very common thing.
Equally yoked and what?
Equally yoked and missionary dating.
Missionary dating?
Yes.
Never heard of that before.
Well, it's a way that people, it's a word that people use to describe, like, when a Christian decides to date someone or get in a relationship with someone who isn't a Christian. Isn't a Christian.
Oh my gosh.
And thinks they can bring them into Christianity.
So, Yeah, that's a good topic, honestly. I have friends that have done that.
I have too.
Yeah.
My mother has a great analogy that a youth pastor taught her.
What's the analogy?
The analogy? Well, it's not an analogy. It's more like he had her stand in a chair and said, "All right, you're the Christian, and I'm the significant other that doesn't believe in Christ.
Yeah.
Try to pull me up onto the chair with you." And he just yanked her right down. Do you get that? You get it?
Yeah. So so instead of, you're not gonna be able to bring them back up to your level, they're gonna bring you down to theirs.
You're gonna make, well, what I think of a lot is, or like compare it to, is Solomon, wisest guy, blessed by God with wisdom.
Yeah.
He thinks he can have a pagan wife. She's not gonna change. Like he thinks he can have her, and he marries her, and that leads to him worshiping pagan gods and Israel worshiping pagan gods.
He ended up leaving the true God and was and him and his son both became pagan followers, and that was like the start of the another downfall of the Israelites. Yeah, that's actually a great analogy. I read through that the other day. Because I was like, because the guy's supposed to be the wisest man ever to live.
He thinks he can do. Well, I think a lot of people get into this mindset that I'm in good standing with God. I'm in a good, faithful relationship.
Yeah.
I can bring someone into it through it. But the thing about dating is it's like the beginning of a very intimate and God, like it's gonna affect, like it's marriage and dating are both godly godly Christian. But God made marriage. He's gonna be involved whether you're Christian or not. Like it's a God made it, so he's gonna be in it. Like it's something that he made. It's like creation. It has his imprint on him. Like his imprint is in it. So I forgot where I was going with this. I lost my trail of thought, but. It's gonna affect. It's such an intimate. Okay, this is where I was going. Marriage is such like a God-made thing and an intimate thing that it's gonna affect your relationship with God, whether positively or negatively.
Yeah.
And it's gonna affect your faith. No, there's not getting out of it because God made it. He made it to be something that is encouraging to your faith and encouraging to your relationship with Him.
Yeah.
But it gets.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Used differently.
You know how we talk about in the Christian community how we should do better about, listening to music and movies and books and everything else. Those things that get into your mind that you meditate on, that are pleasing to God and are wholesome and contributes to the soul instead of takes away. So if those things can take or add away to our relationship, why would our intimate relationship, like you said, that was God imprinted, how would that not also affect our relationship? It's the friends you hang out with, and that's your closest friend. So that's going to affect your relationship with God. And I think that's a really good though, because I think it's so, you can't just, okay, so when you're going through dating, the three things you're going to look at is, the first thing you're going to look at, are they attractive? Let's just be honest.
That's the assessment you make on anyone when you interact with them.
What?
When you interact with someone, it's like one of the first assessments.
That's the first assessment you're going to make your brain.
Because that's what you can do. Like your brain is anxious and it's trying to make an assessment on this person. That's what you're gonna assess. Yeah,
that's and while the Christian community kind of bashes on that, that's honestly, you should be attracted to your partner. I think that's okay. That's good. That's what God designed it. Read Song of Solomon. Come on. It's okay, and you should be attracted to your partner. But too often do they make that the only thing. So the second one is, what are you looking at Gracie for?
I don't know, but just making a funny face.
Gracie, okay, you can't. Yeah.
I told you I can't look at.
Chill.
Don't look at me.
But second thing is character. What is their character like? Are they honest? Are they a good person? Or do they help others? Do they serve? How do they treat their mama? That was another thing. Growing up in the barbershop, they would always say a good way to essentially impress a girl and let them know your character is to make sure that you treat your mother right. If you can't treat your mother right, you can't treat a girl right. You know, and so, yeah, there's that. And then the third thing is the obvious one, probably, is, you know, is their, you know, outside their character and of course their salvation beliefs, you know, are they saved? Your chemistry, you know, personality, chemistry. So those are the three things those are the main like foundation stuff you gotta figure out first.
You need to figure out their relationship with God
dating.
first.
Well, okay. Well, I say the reason why I like that in that order was because when you first see somebody, the first thing you're gonna notice is attracted to them. Okay, when you first start talking to somebody, you don't just walk up to somebody and be like, "Are you saved?"
Okay,
that.
That's not what I
And
meant.
I know that's not what you meant. Then when you get in the talking phase and you start to get to know them, that's when you're like, okay, you assess.
So out of fourth thing
fourth?
that you. Yes.
Okay, what's the fourth?
The fourth is going to be assessing their relationship with God and seeing
Okay.
if they can. Seeing how they affect it.
I was kind of.
Before you.
I think I was meaning for that to be tied with the second one, character.
Probably.
I think I was meaning that. I
think they should be separate though.
You think it should be separate?
I think they should be separate.
Okay, so then we'll do
or
relationship
just
with God.
interchange it because your characters is gonna be intertied with your relationship with God.
Yeah.
And the fruits of your character is gonna be based.
Yeah,
on
that's why
relationship
Kyle
with
put
God.
them together in my brain.
And then you forgot to talk about it. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's
then
okay.
I forgot to talk about it, which is probably the most important. But yeah, your relationship with God, your character, and the last thing is just your chemistry. That's probably, even though that's important, that's probably the last thing you want to take care of.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, if you have because what a lot of people do, they find attractiveness and chemistry, because once they figure out they have those two, they're like, oh my gosh, nothing else matters, and they ignore every red flag. You know, but you cannot do that. It's not good. Not good at all. So that's why it's something that I think everybody should practice of going through a talking phase or like a friendship phase of getting to know the person before you start dating, you know, and not taking things too seriously, especially like a young age, like us, you know. You can't like be like, oh yeah, we're gonna marry tomorrow or something.
God told me you're the one I'm gonna marry.
Yeah, nothing like that. Don't be like that. You know, I know every 15-year-old guy wants to think like every Christian 15-year-old guy wants to think like that, but don't be like that.
I think it's just 15-year-olds.
I just said that because that's what I was like when I was 15.
Oh.
It's not every 15-year-old. It's every young guy and girl. You know, which I feel like Christian girls are better about it than Christian guys, though, honestly.
Probably because they don't go up to people.
They don't typically
go up to people and be like, God told me the one I'm gonna marry.
Yeah, they don't do all that. They just
because they're too anxious to.
You know, I wasn't gonna say that. I was gonna say they're more chill, but maybe they're anxious.
Definitely no.
Okay. Well, either way. So, yeah, I think, yeah, so those are two things, you know, that I was kind of thinking about that. You know, and so that's why also, you know, you can't, like you know, you were saying a second ago, it's like being equally yoked. You know, you can't go outside of that, you know. It's just, what you gotta do in that situation, if you care and love them, you got to be an example for them as a friend. Not even a close friend. Like, your close circle should be Christians that can encourage you to grow close to Christ. Your close circle should always be people who are encouraging you to get close to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then like your second circle. You were describing this other guy the other day.
Your
second circle is probably where you're gonna have more of your openness to like their beliefs. You know?
Yeah.
But like your close
or believers who just are going through a season.
Thoughts on that, but so I think it's something that we've got to. You just got to discern it. You got to discern it. You got to
Seek counsel.
Yeah, my gosh, that's something I have not done well until this. To in relation with her, I've not done well. Like I've not done well seeking counsel until I started dating Whitley. That was when I've probably done the best with taking counsel of my parents and of other people, you know, their thoughts on things and everything else, because I made so much mistakes by not seeking counsel. You That's one of the things you have to learn from. So, but yeah, that's kind of like the rock mindset of what we want to have. So, okay, real quick. These are the two analogies that I love for dating. You know, I had a short on one of them.
The girl her credit.
Gracie technically was the one who came up with the foundation of this analogy. I built upon it. She created like the foundation. She started it. When she said it, I was just like, whoa.
And then you just told it to me.
Yeah, then I told it Lily. Like immediately. So I was
Just
like,
out of nowhere.
whoa, when did this like random spout of wisdom came from? Like,
She's wise.
yeah, well, not all the time, only that time, really.
Are you wise all the time?
No, not really.
Alright.
Okay, but either way. So it's the car analogy. So, just like a relationship, and this is something that really hit me hard because it's something I need to work on. But just like in a relationship, you know, just like in a car, your relationship, you know, so I'm driving, you know, Whitley's in the passenger seat. You should not be, because I'm the man that's after God, sorry. You know, she's actually was the one who drove us here. Because she likes driving in her car, so. But so what you got to go to the speed limit, right? You go to the speed limit, you don't speed, because if you speed, you might crash. And if you go too slow, you might crash. So just in a relationship, if you try to speed and run through the relationship so quickly, you'll probably crash and it'll be a big breakup, or you won't have a good relationship, or like it's not going to end up well. But if you take it too slow and you sit in a dating relationship for like 10 years, you know, or like you move in or whatever, that's also not good.
I think God is the mediator of the speed limit, though.
Yeah,
That's an important,
he's the law.
Yeah, he's the law.
He's the law.
He's gonna be the one that might pull you over sometimes. You're not guaranteed to crash. He might pull you over.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's a fair
I'm
point.
gonna add it. Make it a more complex metaphor.
That's a fair point, you know. Yeah, and the Bible's the GPS. Yeah. So, like, because I feel like I've definitely had a moment where God pulled me over and be like, here's your speeding ticket, you know, metaphorically and literally, you know, because I got a speeding ticket. But, so, because if you keep going, either too slow or too fast or whatever, the problem is what we don't understand a lot of times is you're not just hurting yourself. You're hurting your partner in the passenger seat. Yeah, and you're hurting the other car that you wreck into or whatever, or anybody who's around you. Or pedestrians, depending where you're at, you know. So, I mean, you gotta be very careful with that, of making sure you go on the speed limit that God sets you on. So, you know, and so like another way to say it is, you know, you go as fast as you can, but as slow as you must. Because, you know, yeah, that's just, I pretty much summarizes it right there. And then the triangle analogy, which I really like, I heard it from like my pastor or something. So, you know, you have the two bottom corners and the top corner. Top corner is God, two bottom corners is you and your partner. The goal is to grow closer to God together. So, you know, instead of trying to grow closer together first, you're trying to grow closer to God. And as you grow closer to God, you will automatically start growing closer and closer together. Or you meet each other together with God at the top. So that's like how you should treat dating. Like, God is the center, and you're trying to grow closer to Him with person. You know, and as you grow closer to Him, you will automatically start growing closer with her. And you'll know more about them, and you'll grow in that relationship.
There's always the option to switch paths and go vertical. So you have to be careful. Like, I'm gonna switch it up. I want to do that.
Yeah.
But
You want to stay on the narrow path.
straight and narrow.
Straight and narrow. It's
It's
more
actually
like,
diagonal.
honestly, curvy.
Well, in a triangle, it's diagonal.
Well, okay, yeah, in the triangle now, you'd be going in a diagonal path. It's still straight. Just straight diagonally. It's just diagonally straight. And we're starting on different starting points.
Yeah.
Just in life, you know, you started in like different part of the state. Technically.
Okay.
Not that far, but you know, I make it out like you're just so far away, but Okay, so then what are we going to do with our relationship? So
We have talked about that quite a bit.
we have, honestly, just to kind of summarize and to give short stuff and stuff we haven't talked about. We're trying to make sure that we are keeping each other accountable. You know, like for instance, right now we have Gracie here, my little sister. She's just behind the camera, and you probably didn't hear that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you
she
go.
is.
There you go. But we have her, so then
So we're in
not-
a random office building on a random Sunday, where it's all empty.
yes,
Definitely.
it's empty. So
Well, there's a dog here.
there is one person here, but
Their
that's
dog.
not, and with a dog, and that's not normal.
That is-
That's usually there's literally nobody here on a Sunday afternoon. So to keep us accountable, you know, because while I don't obviously I don't really think like they were just going to start like hooking up or anything like that in here. But to keep us accountable is, you know, to keep us accountable, you know, we have somebody else in here, you know, so to make sure we're never like just completely alone, you know, because you don't know what will happen.
Opportunities.
Don't put yourself in a tempting situation. Don't
Yeah.
allow temptation to be right in front of your face, because you might be able to say no the first once or twice or two times that it comes in front of you. That third time you might not be able to say no. You know, like you don't like, you're supposed to run away from temptation, not invite it. So that's kind of like what we're trying to do, and try to have boundaries and everything else, you know. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do with our relationship. What is there anything else I can think of that we're just like, yeah, we're doing this eventually, I don't know when I'll get around to actually making this happen, but we're going to try to start doing a devotional together to grow our relationship and understanding of a biblical relationship and how to grow closer to God together. Okay, now, what do we pray for all Christian couples? All Christian couples out there.
Yeah. Okay. When I pray about Christian couples, I typically pray that they prioritize. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. That they're just seeking God and and conviction.
Yeah.
Conviction is not something that happens once. It's constant.
Yeah.
Discernment, wisdom, guidance. Good to be surrounded by people who will guide them and they can be counseled by.
Yep. That's the importance of having a community before you start dating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My father has preached that message a bazillion times. Make sure you have a community, good friendships. Make sure you have those things first before you start dating. Don't jump into dating when you're emotionally not ready or you're not even having a community around you to help keep you accountable. Yeah. I have not as much friends, but I feel like you have a good community that I can still help me keep accountable. I have included people in. My prayer is pretty much the same thing. Either way, but yeah, so I think that's just kind of what I pray for, you know, and the fact that people abstinence, that people grow closer to God and they have the right mindset, you know, they don't like rush in, they don't, you know, try to get married as soon as they turn 18, have 5 kids and everything else, like as soon as they possibly can. That's the culture I think that's starting to be prevalent in the Christian community, is that because of them partaking in such strong abstinence, that they end up it almost comes across like they marry for sex. I mean, that's not good either. That should not be your mindset.
That should not be why you get married.
If you cannot marry that person, okay, so think about this. If you were not able to have sex with them, or not able to have kids with them, would you still marry that person? That's what you should think about. And if you can't say that you will, you got a problem. You gotta figure something else out. You gotta figure yourself out internally, where your mindset's at, where you're at with Jesus. You know, you gotta figure out.
You need to readjust your view of sex.
And readjust your view of sex. Because sex is just a gift of intimacy between you and your partner, and a way to reproduce. That's it. It's a beautiful gift, but it's not meant to be outside of marriage, and it's not to be the goal of marriage. Yep, that's the second podcast episode, or part of the podcast episode with my beautiful girlfriend.
Episode 5, now 6.
So this is episode 6, yeah. It's a little bit more of a deeper one, honestly. In some ways, in other ways, I guess the other one was also pretty deep too, especially when it comes to like the. It doesn't matter. But yeah, that's the second part of the episode with Whitley. Talk about Christian dating. Check out the first episode if you want to learn more about her story and her testimony and why we are both Southern Baptists. Thank you for watching or listening on Spotify or YouTube. It is on Spotify. Yeah.
Fancy.
You want to listen on Spotify or YouTube, whatever you're listening on. Thank you. Have a good one.